We'll start with the Turkish Philanthropy Funds. That's a public foundation that's in New York City. And we'll start with the definition of philanthropy, because in Turkey especially, people were asking what it means. And I think the love of mankind is what I've learned. After selling our business in 2005, I didn't know much about philanthropy, even though I was connected to Community Foundation, Arizona Community Foundation, somewhat. It's really, I am a student. The last several years, I'm learning all the time. But this definition of giving something back to others is new, and it's very different than charity, which there is, like in Islam, sadaqah, like handout, helping poor people, that kind of. This is more, philanthropy is more of a system changing, wanting to change something for society. So one of the, as we learn about philanthropy, one of the things that I found out is in the United States, $300 billion was what was given in 2008, which comes to about 2% of GNP. And all kinds of statistics, I won't bore you with those, but the thing that I learned that I want to share with you, which really reflects my life, is its contribution to the economy. Many people think that the U.S. is a rich country, that's why there is that much giving, hundreds of billions of dollars. But this professor from New York University, NYU, Claire Gaudiani, said hundreds of years ago, like Harvard is almost 300 years old, Columbia is 250 some years old. There were people in this country with means who were generous. So generosity, they started with, this is like a clock, 12 o'clock position, if that's generosity. Then it went towards creating opportunities for younger people. Think of it in terms of scholarships, where the people that had the promise were given the opportunity, and then out of that came prosperity over time. They converted that opportunity to prosperity, and then that led to gratitude as they got older, which turned them into generous people. And this cycle, generation after generation, was a significant factor in helping the economy. I find that really interesting because it's a reflection of my life also. The help, the scholarships I got, the financial aid, things like that. I think when we look back, that comes back to other generations. And I wanted to mention that about philanthropy. The TPF, we in 2006 did a feasibility study, see if would there be an opportunity to establish a foundation for Turkish Americans, because some other groups had that, and after 9/11 it became difficult to send money to Turkey. The domestic foundations were very reluctant because of that. And come to find out, like the Irish had their foundation, the Israelis, the Indians, also Silicon Valley, very successful people. Brazilians have their own foundation. Why not the Turkish Americans? That was the question. And after the feasibility study, you can tell we went through a series of improvements, got our office. We share offices in New York City with the American India Foundation. That's really helping. But at the end of this year, we have almost $12 million of assets. We have granted the $1.3 million to Turkish and U.S. nonprofits. We have founding partners, and we haven't really done any communication. So because we're in Arizona, you and us, we thought that this would be a good time to announce it to you. So quietly we've been establishing the systems and building the reputation and building the resources so that this is a successful foundation, and we're on our way. The comment I want to make here, this is a little bit of a different entity. It's not a private foundation. This is a public foundation, and it's very donor-centric. We have so far, like in Arizona Community Foundation, there are this model of a foundation started in the United States almost 100 years ago in Cleveland. And like in Arizona Community Foundation, I'm a trustee of that. We have over 1,000 funds in it. So it is possible to open funds. Right now we have 8 different funds. Families, corporations can open a fund. It takes $10,000 minimum to open the fund. Out of that, it gives the tax deduction. People can make donations to whether it's in the United States or Turkey. It's a very flexible platform. Next one, please. There are 2 kinds, basically, that we're making grants. This year, we're projecting over $8 million of grants to be made. It can be competitive or it can be non-competitive. If it is coming from individual funds, donor-advised funds, then it's non-competitive. And last year, 2009, and our fiscal year is ending June, so that's why it shows 2008, 2009. But our fiscal year ends at the end of June. Most of the grants were coming from that source. This one is funds that are like going toward women. We had one for Trabzon for empowering women. And then there was another one for youth. So this group here is basically made up of the different people who want to contribute. And we'll show some examples of, there is 3 examples on the next slide that we had done. This first one, I'm originally from Bolu. So there was my wife and I were looking what can we do for Bolu, and it took 3 years to get to this point of establishing the first community foundation in Turkey, and it's in Bolu with the participation of 3 dozen business people. And here is a picture in 2006 with the governor in the middle. Nihal is there right next to me, and we had some people from Third Sector Foundation of Turkey coaching, helping with the bylaws and the legalities of it. The foundation law changed in Turkey, but this is whatever we do, we're looking for scale. So this is a pilot, and we're hoping that in other parts of Turkey, this ability, people can start their own community foundation. In Kayseri, in Denizli, in Gaziantep, there are some. Trabzon is another potential. The government is also believing in this. The World Bank sees the community foundations as a great tool for development. So I'm, as you can tell, very excited about the benefits of community foundation because it brings people who can do something about their own problems to improve their quality of life. And the mission of Bolu Donor, they named it as Bolu Bağışçılar Vakfı, Bolu Donors Foundation. So it can, it allows, what this does is instead of a private foundation, people with moderate means to open up their own fund and they can participate. So it brings people together focusing on the issues of their own community. The other was there was a flood in Istanbul. You would remember during recently. So we're helping Nesin Vakfı with the recovery of their disaster. So this is another example. of it. This was a major undertaking. Their endowment is $1 million, and we helped. So if a donor wants to do something, they need to be involved. And most these days, as a definition of philanthropy, people want to be involved in where it goes, how it's spent, and I think we're seeing more and more examples of the desire to be involved by the donor or donors. The third example, gender equality, is also similar. It was with Child. AÇEV is a mother-child education fund, a very well-run organization. We teamed up with them. So the area that I want to stress today, most important, I think, is planning. Eventually, we'll all die. One example, I think last year or 2 years ago in Florida, there was a businessman with a net worth of $1 billion in real estate. Unexpectedly, he died. High taxes, inheritance taxes, 550 million of it went to the U.S. government, and his company was devastated because there was no plan. In Turkey, many people don't do plan because it's defined by law. But in the States, whether people have property or not, I think it still needs to be planned, because even a young couple with children needs to think about guardianship, the health-related issues, or maybe term insurance would make sure that if somebody dies, the children are taken care of. So I would encourage you and the people that you know to really pay attention and do some estate planning. There are so many tools for people to use. We're seeing, like, there is a doctor in the East Coast that wants to leave his house. He's no longer using it, and there are ways to do it where they still use it, and when they pass away, that would go to a university in Turkey to fund it, and it will be happening through TPF. So this area, I am encouraging all our Turkish American members to really pay special attention, because one of the things also I learned is this: give while you live, because so many people spend so much time during their life, making money with worldly affairs. They don't plan what happens afterwards. And I'm hearing from lawyers, estate planning lawyers, that they say that it's wasted afterwards. It goes through courts, attorney fees, and then people that maybe they would be very unhappy if they heard it's going into the hands of people they don't want it to go. So plan, please, plan it for yourselves or other people. Do something. You don't have to bring TPF into it, but do something. Whether there is three ways. One can either leave their estate to the children, to the heirs, or to the government. It goes in taxes, or it goes to charity. One of those. So depending on the tax situation and one's individual preference, so those are the three options. One can do that. This is what is TPF all about? Why TPF? What is our value proposition? Our message is that anyone can be a philanthropist. Like the teachers are great examples of people who are philanthropists, because you're touching lives, hundreds and thousands of lives in what you do. So it isn't just writing a check. This is really what can be done to help others. We work with donors, or also one of the things that donors want is they don't want high administrative costs. In our model, 97% or higher goes to the designated foundation in Turkey. So if somebody sends $1 million, it is 99% goes. If it is lower, then it can be 97%. There is a fee, part of our sustainability, which is a part of our model that's sustainable, because we are doing everything we can so that it's around 50 years from now. That's why we're building this endowment, and the fee income and the endowments and the people that are working on it, like myself and our president. She's a retired banker in New York. It's pro bono. We have interns also. They don't charge anything, but we have also right now one professional staff member, and in the future we will be very careful so our expenses are covered by our fee income and mostly from endowments. The connecting power of TPF is like today bringing us together. I think the philanthropy and TPF, I'm finding out, we never met, my wife and I never met the people we're meeting now. To me, I get more out of it than the giving that we do, the satisfaction, the personal fulfillment. So it is it's a wonderful, I think, umbrella for people to get to know each other if they're somehow engaged in TPF. The platform, it's very flexible. I would, we have some brochures that you pocket size you already got. You can check our website and then learn more about how flexible the platform it is. Possible to have your own foundation inside this so that TPF does the administrative work and you can direct where the funds are going to go. It's a very efficient model because it brings the donors together where the common expenses are shared, and legally we file the tax returns, and it's more and more difficult, so it takes away the administrative burden from that. So, and also if you're in New York, let us know so you can visit our offices there. The last slide is what can you do for TPF? I think bringing in your friends and introducing it to the people you know, people who are friends of Turkey or Turkish Americans, so they're aware of it. Whether it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, at some point, and also the second generation Turks. As I go around the country, it's very impressive. People who are born here of Turkish parents or half Turkish, half American. I'm seeing impressive young people, professionals, rising stars, and this is a good way for people to know each other, for us, and then that way I think they could be further tied into Turkey's activities, and we can get to know. So there is that bringing in, introducing some of these people, reaching out, and they can be a founding partner. We are very open. Right now we have annual report you can see on our web page. It is tpfund.org. It shows our board of directors and our founders. So you can suggest people to be part of this organization. We're very open and also transparent, because it's run with business principles. There is accountability, there is transparency. We get audited every year by a CPA firm. So I think somehow or another you're welcome, depending on your time and because if you're young, you're raising a family, or professional, you have responsibilities to your job. I understand, but at some point, whenever that time comes, this will be open, and we will be very interested to have you, get to know TPF better. I think that concludes my presentation. Now we'll open it for questions. We promised 4 o'clock. Thank you.